Welcome to r/IDontWorkHereLady, where we share stories about folks that are mistaken for employees by irate customers. And the first story is my first encounter with entitled Karen. First, sorry for the bad English. I'm from Finland, and my English is not the best. So this is my first encounter with real-life Karen, and same time r/IDontWorkHereLady situation. This happened a couple hours ago at the nearby supermarket. Cast: Bunny equals my girlfriend. Scantus equals me. Karen equals the entitled lady. I was doing groceries with my girlfriend. It was close to the close time, so there were only a few other customers. I was in the milk/cream etc. aisle looking for milk, but suddenly I feel somebody grab my arm. I assumed that it was my girlfriend and turned around smiling, but there was a 50-year-old lady and she was very angry. I asked her yes, and she started immediately screaming at my face. Karen: why didn't you answer me when I asked you to help me? Scantus: well, I didn't hear you and I don't work here, so… I was a little peeved because of her attitude and because I'm full tattooed. Face, neck, whole body, etc. and didn't have any kind of clothes that signs that I was working there, and she still thinks that I work there. Karen: just help me right now, or do you want me to talk to your manager? Scantus: feel free to talk to manager. I don't work here, so I don't have to help you. If you have asked just nicely, I would have helped you, but with that attitude, I'm not going to help you. Karen: well, I don't care if you don't work here. You have to respect elderly people if they ask you to help. Scantus: yes, I will help elderly people if they ask for help, but I don't have to help entitled people like you. When you have attitude like spoiled brat and think that you're entitled something because you're elderly, and besides, you're about 50 years old, you are not elderly, and respect is earned and not default. I then turn around and see my girlfriend coming up, bringing juice, and began walking towards her. And then this effing Karen grabbed Bunny by the arm and starts screaming to her that you have to teach your man manners. Bunny pulled her hand and says, touch me again and I will break your arm. My Bunny is pretty good MMA fighter, one of the fighters that represent their club in events, fights, etc. Karen was so effing peeved. Me and my Bunny just turned away and continued shopping, but Karen thinks that she was not done. Karen hits Bunny straight to back of her head. I was shocked and started to yell to Karen, what the F is wrong with you? But then I see that Bunny has this face around her. Face that says I'm going to effing kill you. Bunny turned around and kicks Karen to the legs. Karen fell to the ground and yelped like a dog with some sobbing and started to scream. This girl assaulted me. Call the police. Bunny has not done yet. She jumps on top of Karen and begins to do arm lock. Karen squeezes for the pain and Bunny yells to her face, I warned you to not effing touch me or I break your arm. Now it's too late for that. Karen starts to beg that please let go. I'm so sorry, blah blah. Bunny frees her and says that now you go away that way and never speak or touch me again. I thought it was over. I was wrong. Karen called police, and she claims that Bunny attacked her without no reason. Police came, and because of my look, they first told me to put my hands behind my back and put handcuffs, search me and Bunny, etc. I was peeved for the situation, and Karen was smiling with the annoying smile on her face. Then the police start to question us what had happened. We told the truth and said that you can watch the cameras if you don't believe us. Police asked for the manager to check the cameras. Now Karen's face was white and pale. It took a moment, but eventually manager and police came back and released us from the handcuffs. They took our details, etc. and said this is going to court because situation was a little tricky. Because Bunny had used self-defense, but they think it was a little too much. Laws in Finland are sucky. Here was one situation where some junkie robbed somebody's shop, and when the guy releases footage from the robbers, he was sued because it's illegal to release footage of a person without the person's permission. And the guy loses the court and was obligated to pay for the robbers. Karen was arrested and gets to jail. So here we are waiting for the court. We hired a lawyer, and she is 99% sure that we are going to win, because Bunny only kicks Karen to the legs to put her down, and then did the arm lock to calm the situation. Bunny is though little shocked, because this is her first time that she had to use her skills to self-defense on real situation. But she is also proud of herself that she handled the situation pretty well. The second story is, I'm an essential worker, not a drug dealer, and yes, I can walk home. I'm also not a man. First things first, I'm on mobile, and English is indeed my native language. So no excuse for any poor spelling or punctuation, but it's been a rough day, so excuse any mistakes. This happened today, Mother's Day 2020. I live in New York, and we are currently going through the pandemic. I work in an elderly home in my town. I'm a 24-year-old female, about 5 foot 2 inches when not in heels, and rather thin. My hair is rather short with both sides of my head buzzed. On this particular night, I was working the reception desk for the 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. shift. The night was calm, quiet, and actually warmish. I originally wore a sundress and high-heel wedges to work, and of course the obviously required face mask, but brought a pair of leggings, a t-shirt, socks, and my sneakers with me to change into after my shift. I also had my university baseball cap and hoodie. Put it all together and I look like a very small guy. This is important later. 11 p.m. comes and my relief shows up, so I go and change in the employee bathroom, putting the dress and my name badge in my bag, a Legend of Zelda mini backpack, and my heels in my locker. I called for a cab and was told it would be about an hour to an hour and a half wait. Now, when I walk home from work, it usually takes me about 45 minutes. I had my headphones and my phone's battery was at 70%, so I said no thank you to the cab and decided to walk. I plugged in my headphones, turned on YouTube and listened to a random Redditor playlist. Shout out to Redditor if you're reading this, you're awesome. Before I left the grounds, I tossed my face mask in the trash so I could finally breathe. Plus, who was I gonna meet on the sidewalks at 11 at night? About halfway home, I was passing my local hospital, not paying attention to much around me, when I feel a sharp tug on my bag. Now, I don't live in a particularly safe city, so I instantly thought I was being robbed or worse. I'm a rape survivor, and I'm constantly afraid of it happening again. I turned around and came face to face with a typical Karen, dressed fully in hospital scrubs, with a typical haircut and face mask. She was saying something to me, but I was not able to hear above the awesomeness that is Redditor's British accent. I took my headphones out and asked her what was wrong. The cast shall be as follows. M, the fabulous Pokemon-obsessed woman that I am. K, does this one really need an explanation? P.O, amazing police officer. Me, I'm sorry ma'am, what was that? Karen, did you even hear me? These effing millennials and their effing music. I said you're not supposed to be out here. There's a curfew. You can't be out after 8 p.m. Now, my city had passed a curfew. No one could be out after 8 p.m., except for those who are considered essential workers, which I am. Me, oh, I know ma'am, I just got off work. I only live about a 30-minute walk from here. Karen, where do you work? Me, I work at company. I showed her my name badge, which says the company name, my department, and has my picture on it. Karen, not bothering to look at my name tag. I know who you are. You're one of those drug dealers I keep hearing about. You're probably on your way to sell some drugs right now. Karen then remembers the bag I'm carrying. Give me your bag. Me, what? No, this is my property. Karen, if you don't have anything to hide, then let me see it. Me, which? No, this is my bag. I paid a lot of money for it, and it's got all of my things in it. I had the handmade Mother's Day gifts from my son and a few residents at my job sitting in my bag, on top of my clothes, and I didn't want them to get ruined. Plus, I don't want some random lady going through my things. Karen, well then I'm calling the police. You're gonna get arrested. I'm normally not good with confrontation, and always get nervous around anyone who has any type of authority over me, including police. So after hearing her say police, I froze. Karen gets on her phone and calls the police. After about 7 minutes, a police cruiser shows up, and a very large police officer steps out. Officer, what seems to be the problem? Karen, this boy is going to sell some drugs. Officer, son, is this true? Me, quietly, no officer, and I'm not a guy. Karen, liar, he's gonna sell his nasty drugs, and he threatened to rape me if I called the police. Yes, she really did say this. Karen then tries to take my bag again, this time yanking it so hard that I trip and fall to the ground. My phone lands on the pavement hard, and is now completely shattered. Karen, there's bound to be proof in his bag. Still trying to pry the bag off of me. Arrest this boy right now. At this point, I've had it. With tears in my eyes, I stood up, dumped the contents of my bag onto the ground, unzipped my sweatshirt, and lifted my t-shirt to show her that I was not flat-chested. Me, does it look like I'm a man? I'm sobbing at this point. Karen and the police officer are ghost white. I ask the officer if it's okay that I go home. He says yes, so I gather my things. I flip Karen the bird and start to walk home. I'm still crying when I get home, cradling my now shattered phone, which had so many precious memories on it that I don't have any idea how to retrieve. The third story is, simple mistake actually made my vacation better. I traveled to Colorado this past September to attend a wedding with a weeks-long vacation, and I had never been there before. I got mistaken for an employee a couple of times throughout that week actually. I stayed by the Grand Mesa, but drove to Aspen for one of the days to see the Maroon Bells, like a 2.5-hour drive. The first situation was simple. While making a stop at Walmart, the woman who stopped me said my keys hanging from my belt gave the impression that I worked there. She apologized and we both continued shopping. The second situation was different. I'm finally in Aspen. To get to the Maroon Bells, you park your car, then buy a ticket for a bus ride to get there. I'm waiting for the next bus, which should be there in about 10 minutes. I'm in awe from the scenery. Even the area waiting for the bus was absolutely beautiful, so I'm taking as many pictures as possible. I notice an older man, in his 70s probably, kinda watching me. I ignore it because I know some people just stare sometimes. OG, old guy. He walks up to me and asks, "Don't have enough pictures already?" Me, "Oh no, there's never enough." And I chuckle a bit. Old guy, "So how long until the next bus?" Me, looks at the time. "Should be about 6 minutes or so if it's on schedule." Old guy, "Is it on schedule?" Man, you'd think you'd seen enough of this already to not take so many pictures. Me, I think it's on schedule, though I've never been here before. I'm on vacation. Old guy looks surprised and starts smiling and laughing, saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you worked here." He points to my keys that I keep hanging on my belt loop. I thought those were like employee keys. We actually start chatting for a while. He was very nice, asked each other where we were from, cause he was also on vacation. I told him Ohio, and he told me Florida. He actually lives pretty close to my grandmother, and we talked about that area. He asks me where else I've been in Colorado for my vacation. I told him about the wedding, and about the little Book Cliffs area to see wild horses, and he was so excited to see the pictures and videos I got of some horses. He told me it's harder to see them around that time, and he didn't get to see any when he went. He then introduced me to his wife, and I ended up sitting next to her on the bus, and we talked about Colorado and Florida on the way, both amazed looking at the scenery out of the window. When we made it to the Maroon Bells, we parted ways. I reached the area where you can see the full peak of the mountains. I can see the old guy looking around. He finally sees me, waves while yelling, "Hey Ohio, what do you think of that?" I gave him a thumbs up and yelled back, "It's beautiful." That's one of the best experiences I've had with a stranger. Haha, also, is there a thing about a key ring from the belt loop meaning employee? The last story is, get your own D-spoon. This happened about 2 years ago. Bit of context here. So, I used to work in a really big whiskey bar in my town that also catered for dinner and coffee/cake sort of things. I had worked there for a couple of years, so I guess I was recognizable to a few people, and maybe some hadn't realized I'd moved on. I was really good friends with all the staff in there, so I used to call in for a pint and a chat occasionally. The uniform in the whiskey bar is black shirt and tee and black bottoms, and being a bar person, I happen to wear an awful lot of black on a daily basis, even in my newer job, which is casual dress. So this one evening I call in for a drink, and I'm sitting at the bar waiting for the bartender to finish serving this woman next to me. After about 10 seconds, I realize she's absolutely going out of her way to make life a living heck for her server. She's trying to pay for a bunch of stuff separately, but wants specific change for each thing, for reasons unknown. And while the guy serving her is doing everything to accommodate her, she creates a new problem with every interaction. Complains that there's too much coins, or not enough coins, the cream on the coffee doesn't look nice enough, etc. And gets quite rude and aggressive, sending her server running back and forth. A bit bizarre. The bartender is a chill guy and does his best to meet her requirements and offers the 2 Irish coffees she just ordered on the house, by way of apology for not understanding her. She mutters something under her breath, along the lines of "yeah, D right," while outwardly expressing her impatience by huffing and tapping her phone loudly on the counter. The bartender serves the drinks and smiles, apologizing again. I'm sitting at the end of the bar near where the sugars, spoons, and milk for coffee is, in my black ensemble. The woman turns to me and just says "spoon," without looking at me. "Excuse me?" I reply, taken a bit aback. "Give me a D-spoon," she says, right into my face. I looked her dead in the eye and responded, "I don't work here." I ordered my beer, and she went a marvelous shade of red and scuttled off back into whichever pit she had ascended from. She never got her D-spoon. Thanks for watching!